Today, we're going to be installing a leveling kit on my Silverado. Need a little room for the tires, a little bit more clearance in the front. Grab yourself a cheap cold one. Welcome to Boondock Tabernacle. Alright, so I'm getting a before drive real quick before I try and do this switch out on my front struts with the rough country leveling kit. Just driving into town, getting some gas just to get a real fresh feel of how it handles on the road, because I drove my wife's car all day yesterday, drove my work truck before that, so I just want to get a fresh feel of what this one feels like going over some railroad tracks. And just kind of driving through town. That way I can do a pretty good on-road comparison. Don't know if I'll get on the highway today, probably won't. But there are a few bumps, some railroad tracks up here that I'll go over and kind of see how that feels as I go over it. And I'll report back when it's done. I don't live close to any dirt roads or trails or anything, but they do have some roads that have speed bumps, so we're gonna test it out on those speed bumps and see what stock feels like versus the new kit. Suspension on this stock is a little bouncy when it comes down. I don't know if that's just the way they have it. I mean, it is a full-size truck, and trying to make the ride soft. You know, they try and make trucks ride like cars nowadays, so that could be it. But I'm not sure. I don't know. We'll see if it stiffens up the ride, loosens up the ride, makes it a little softer, dampens a little better. I don't know. Guess we'll find out. Alright, so we got the rough country leveling kit for the Silverado. Now, I know you're going to give me a lot of heat because it is rough country, but to be honest, rough country's been around since I was reading Four-Wheeler and Four-Wheel Drive magazine. And I just don't have the thousands upon thousands of dollars to throw at a lift kit in order to get certain size tires. First of all, I'm not looking to lift this truck 5 inches, 8 inches, 6 inches, 4 inches, whatever, to get a bigger tire. Yeah, it'd be nice to roll around some 37s, but you know, I've got a big limiting factor, which is the fender well. We'll get into that when we kind of get the tires off. I'm going to show you some measurements. But right now I have 31-inch tires on there. I would like to get some 33s. That'll give me another inch of lift on the whole truck, and then with the 2.5, get 3.5 overall. Probably take them running boards off to help a brake over, but it's really just to kind of get this truck sitting level. It does have a lot of rake to it. I mean, there's about 9 inches between the tire and the wheel well there. There's 6 inches on this side. So really the leveling kit is just to get it sitting up a little higher, give it a little better stance, and give them the ability to get 33s without any problem. 35s, I might have to do some trimming, but we'll come to that when we get to it. All right, so got the wheel off, it's on jack stands. It's ready to go. So I mentioned the big limiting factor of this is going to be the wheel well, which if I measure it, you got about 38 inches side to side. So if that is perfectly centered, you're never getting a 37 in there. You're barely going to get a 35 in there. And to get anything bigger than that, the best thing to do would be able to lift it 5 inches, so that way that's not at the center of your tire when it's all compressed. So that's why I'm going with the smaller 2.5-inch leveling kit, and 33s, possibly 35s. I think 35s will fit with a little bit of trimming of the inner fender well, which is plastic anyway, not a big deal. So let's get started. There's 20 steps according to the instructions. Whether that's right or not, we'll find out. They have you remove basically everything on here. I'll find out as I go on what I have to remove, what I need to, and I'll report back and let you know what goes on. Wish me luck. Now, as I mentioned before in a previous video, I do all this stuff on a gravel driveway. I don't have a garage. I don't have a concrete driveway yet. I'll get one eventually, but you know, not today. So after you get it up on the lift, get yourself your jack stands, lock it out. I go get my garage floor, which coincidentally is a black tarp that I can sit on and not wreck my knees. So got my garage floor. Now hopefully I don't lose stuff. Alright, so I just noticed something. I only had this one side jacked up, and I was looking at, I want you to disconnect the sway bar. Well, with the other side not jacked up and these level, basically loosening that, it looked like that bolt was basically going to get shot off because of the tension that was on the sway bar. Jacked up the other side, put it on a jack stand, and now I can actually get that nut off. You know, not having a lift problems. Alright, so I got one of them out. Let me show you here. So the instructions wanted you to take the upper ball mount joint off, the lower ball joint, remove the whole steering knuckle and everything else. I found otherwise. I mean, you do have to take the tie rod off, but that's not terrible. The other thing I noticed is this might be about as far down as I want to be. Got a pretty good angle on your upper ball joint there, probably on the lower one too. So I don't know, we'll see where this kind of ends up at ride height, and I guess I'll decide if I want to get new upper control arms to kind of lessen that angle on there. But I guess we'll find out. Let's go over here. There's the old one. Let's take this and just compare it to the new one. So yeah, it looks like about 2 inches. Doesn't seem like a lot, but should be enough to get this guy to sit a little bit more level. All right, let's get back to it. Let's put that thing in there. All right, let's have a party. He's definitely way more. You know, probably would be easier without this gear out of the way. Probably took these nuts out the first time. You know, before you put it on there. Uh-oh. Oh, crap. Those down. Come up. Come. That was my finger. Put this on here. That's why. Compress that up. So this right here is hanging down a whole lot lower. Guess that's why they want you to take the upper ball joint off, so you can get that low enough to put that on there. Damn it. Oh, back to banging on the upper ball joint. Whew. All right, let's show what we got going on. All right, so the stock strut came out behind there. You didn't have to take that apart. This one has to go in between them and up in order for it to fit. Otherwise, you're never getting it over this. That's how it goes. I just got to put it all back together. All right, so here's one of the gross things. GM, for whatever reason, doesn't paint their frames. They color them with this black wax crap that wears off. Luckily, I still live in the South and not where I grew up in Michigan, where that stuff wears out and your frames rust. This stuff is disgusting. But whatever. Back to it. now that it's on, there's a couple things that I'm gonna have to correct, probably when I get a little bit more money. Let me show you. So it's in there, everything's tight, everything's back together, but if you look, let's see if you can see it. Let me get this out of the way. That upper ball joint angle is pretty severe. Now I know the weight of the vehicle's not on it. It's resting on the bump stop right there, so I don't think it's going to be too bad. What I'll do is I'll look at it once it's on the ground, and after I go drive around for a little bit and get it to settle. I haven't been able to connect the sway bar yet. That's going to have to wait till I get the other side done because there's tension on it that's trying to lift it up a little bit. A couple things. The instructions actually wanted you to remove the whole knuckle. I didn't have to do that. I was just real careful about making sure the CV joints didn't come apart or anything else came out. You know, if I was on a lift and I had a better shop and I wasn't on gravel, I probably would have done that. But other than that, it was a pretty easy install. First time doing it, one side took me a couple hours. Mostly because I had to run and get tools and make sure I had everything. But now that I got everything, I'm going to tackle the other side. I'm not going to show you guys that, but I'll get back to you once everything is in and we see what it looks like. Yeah. Talking's hard. So this is the post drive through town after I've done the front strut install, leveling kit, and I actually installed rear shocks to match. I'm kind of glad I did because the stock ones I took out were already starting to leak. Stock shocks after 39,000 miles started to leak. So glad to replace those. But so far, the ride itself seems better. It's not as bouncy, coming up and down stuff. It is a little softer. It's not as, stiff as it was. I'm not getting jarred around by the bumps as much as I was before, which is kind of weird. I guess that's just the way they dampen it, and it just makes it a little bit better. But I'm not sure. So far, I'm really happy with it on road. It's great. It seems to be a little bit of a smoother ride, not as harsh. It seems to not bounce around as much, which is good. Next stop will be when I take it into probably the Uwharrie. That's the closest to where I live, so go through there, run through a couple of those, trails. I'm not going to be riding any of the D's because this truck ain't built for that. But where I was bottoming out before, probably not going to be doing it this time. Alright, so there she is. She's got a better stance. Everything seems to be a little bit more level, which is good. Now, when I measured this before, it was at about 6 inches, 6.5. And now we're at 9, which is what the back is. So I'll level it out. I expect it to settle about a 1/2 inch or 1 inch. Ride's been nice. Ride's been good. Sorry about it being dirty. But overall, first install, first impressions are good. We'll see how she rides on the trail in the next episode. Well, that's it for this episode. If you liked it, hit the like button. Comment, let me know what you thought. And if you want to see more, go ahead and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.